Hey there, welcome. Welcome to Rise and Receive. This is an opportunity in your day to explore how to receive fulfillment in your life by unlearning struggle. So today we are doing part 2 of a mini training on self-worth and confidence, 3 keys to surpass your limits. On Monday we did key number 1, which is about surpassing your limits with greater ease. And today we're going to talk about surpassing your limits around self-worth and confidence with greater speed. Hi Ruth, good to see you. So if you are new to me, new to this mini training series, I invite you to connect with or take a moment to just ponder where you might feel limited regarding your sense of self-worth and confidence. And even if you're not new to me and you're back for part 2, take a moment to reconnect with that or connect to any new awarenesses you've had since training number 1. And think about where your sense of self-worth, your sense of confidence, the sense of worthiness or deservingness is not how you'd like it to be. Maybe it's something that you struggle with in a really intense sort of way, or maybe it's a subtle thing, and maybe this is a new concept for you, but you know you'd like to feel more confident. You'd like to feel better in your own skin, freer to be yourself. So take a moment to connect with that as the training unfolds, because that'll make it more relevant to you. All right. And if you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I mentor ambitious, goal-oriented people to surpass their limits with ease, speed, and beyond what they've ever imagined possible. And the way that I do this is I love to illuminate blind spots, because one of the things I've discovered after more than 20 years as a coach is that most ambitious, goal-oriented people have a particular set of blind spots. We have learned to over-rely on what I call the doing skills. So when you are an overachiever, an overfunctioner, you're ambitious, you're goal-oriented, chances are good that you approach your goals and your dreams using a lot of mental activity and a lot of doing and a lot of action. You might take on the characteristics of the hunter. That's the metaphor I like to use. And so the hunter identifies a goal, a target in the horizon, and then recruits all of these physical world senses and skills, the mind and the body, to go after the goals. And this is really great if your goal is a very concrete physical world thing and you're in task mode or project manager mode. But if you're in this other realm of dreams and wishes and aspirations and feelings that go with things that you want that are beyond the physical realm, whether it's relationships, self-worth, or confidence, like we're talking about now, more purpose in your work, more meaning in your work, feeling more worthy of money, that realm of dreams and, all kinds of things like that gets messier. And it requires another set of skills, which I call the being skills. So you can operate as a human doing, can operate as a human being. When you have both sets of skills, you are a force to be reckoned with. But if you don't, if you're malnourished or there's an absence of those being skills, then what happens is when you don't reach your goal, you work even harder. You do more doing. And meanwhile, in your inner world, you're feeling negativity, discouragement, frustration. And in your outer world, you might be hitting a limit. Like, I've been able to achieve things that I want up to a certain point, but I can't get beyond. So in the earlier mini trainings, we've talked about relationships, surpassing your limits there. We've talked about wellness and beauty, surpassing your limits there. We've talked about money and work, surpassing your limits there. So we're kind of covering the main themes, the main topics that people struggle with when they want to make their dreams come true and they don't know how to get beyond a certain point. Hey Kathy, great to see you. So today we are doing a deeper dive into self-worth and confidence, and the blind spots that we're illuminating is now on blind spot number 2. Okay, so blind spot number 2 is what I call the faulty focus blind spot. And we're also addressing the pain point that is around speed. How do you dissolve your upper limits or surpass your upper limits with greater speed? Because here's what happens. When you are dealing with a speed issue, there's 2 things happening. Number 1 is you are wanting something you think you don't have. And number 2 is any progress that you make is very slow or not at all. So the feelings of not having what you want, we start to get really attached, really fixated on fixing the problem. That's what the human doing does. Okay, they view anything that they want. If it isn't here yet, there's a problem I need to fix. So with self-worth and confidence, we ask, what do I do? What do I do to feel more confident? What do I do to feel more worthy? What do I do to feel more confident in my own skin? Now, here's what happens. We focus on the wrong thing. That's why this is called the faulty focus blind spot. And what we will do is there will be some area of life where you don't feel good enough. Okay? Might be relationships, might be work, might be money, might be your body. And then we focus on the world of form. If I can just fix or change that thing, then I'll feel worthy. I'll feel more self-worth. I'll feel more confidence. So we focus on the form, hoping that the feelings will change. It doesn't work. If it works, it only lasts as long as that form is intact. But the minute, let's say, you lose your job, or you can't get the raise that you want, or your relationship isn't feeling as good as before, or you got rid of a symptom and you thought, okay, I'm all better, I'm happy, healthy, and whole, but another symptom comes, or another symptom comes back, or you want to look a certain way in terms of attractiveness, and you're having a good hair day, or your clothes are fitting really good, and then you're having a not so great hair day, or you haven't been able to go to the gym and work out, and you're feeling like you're losing your muscle. Well, there goes the confidence, right? So that feeling that you're after is very impermanent, very fragile, and very dependent on the form. It doesn't work with any lasting way. So what that does is it makes any progress for lasting fulfillment slow, inconsistent, and sometimes not at all. Because if you're focusing on the form, you're focusing on the wrong thing. So how do we start to activate speed? How do we start to actually receive what we want instead of always feeling attached and lacking the thing we want? Well, we focus on the essence so the form can come. We focus on the essence of what we want, in this case, self-worth and confidence, so that the form will come. So what is the essence? Essence has to do with feelings. It has to do with this whole internal world that is the terrain of human beingness, as opposed to the external world, which is the terrain of human doingness. All right, so we're going to start to go into today, what is the essence that you focus on when you want to experience greater sense of self-worth and confidence? So this is where I refer to my notes. Okay. So, in one word, the essence of self-worth and confidence is wholeness. This is how you get to it, okay? What is it that you're feeling when you don't feel self-worth, when you don't feel self-confidence? Generally, you can describe it a million different ways, but it boils down to, I feel not enough. It's always back to that, not enough. This is a universal epidemic. Not saying everyone in the universe experiences that, but when you're feeling a lack of self-worth and confidence, it's some version of not enoughness. So what is not enough actually? Not enough means what I am is not enough. I need to be more of that. But what that does is that's a symptom of, and you can refer to earlier trainings, when you value yourself transactionally. Transactional value is when there's a transaction. You want this thing, you pay this much money. There's an actual mathematical equivalent where you can actually know, well, if I come up with enough money, there's that word enough, then I'll get this thing that I value. Well, we do that to ourselves when we're operating as human doings. We've learned that our value is outside of us for what we do. So if I do enough, or if I provide enough supply, I will get my value in return in the form of attention, approval, recognition, compensation, whatever it is. But that sets you up when it's an internal being thing of self-worth and confidence. All right, so what's actually going on is you are wanting to feel and experience your wholeness. Because here's the thing about wholeness. When you are whole, when anything is whole, it's missing nothing. Nothing is missing. It's enoughness. Okay? So another way of looking at it is a whole is not whole if it's missing some of its parts. And in your inner world, what that translates to is if you don't feel enough, which is innate value. Now we're talking about innate value, like you come into this world factory set, whole, worthy, complete. If you're not feeling that, okay, it's because somewhere in your inner world, there are aspects of you that are not welcome here. You've decided that there's aspects of yourself, and I shouldn't say you decided. We learn, we get messages, and then we've completely unconsciously concluded that certain aspects of ourselves are shameworthy, are unacceptable, just don't get to be here. And once we start rejecting parts of ourselves because we got the message somehow, then we can't experience our wholeness. So the solution is to welcome home all of these parts of yourselves, and refer to training number 1 here to get into that. All of the parts of yourself that you have rejected, judged, shamed, banished. They get to come home. And as you welcome home these parts of yourselves, you start to connect and experience with your wholeness. Okay, so that's the idea behind how we start to transform lack of worth and lack of confidence. So let's go into now, what is the form of wholeness? So let's say you start to focus on the essence of wholeness. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. Okay, but if I talk about focus on the essence, so the form will come. What is the form of wholeness? Wholeness? What actually manifests in your experience and in your life when you're operating from the consciousness of, I am whole, I am complete, there's nothing missing. Because if you've missed it, the theme for this entire series of mini trainings is this: your consciousness creates your reality. When your consciousness is wholeness, which is another way of saying your consciousness is enoughness, you start to experience self-worth and confidence. What is the form of that? What manifests when you focus on that essence? Let's talk about it in concrete ways, okay? In the realm of relationships, for example, wholeness equals all of you matters. So you start to have relationships, you start to have the experience, you start to develop the skills where all of you matters. That means your needs matter, your wants matter, your feelings matter, your limits matter, your preferences matter. Because you value those, because you value your own needs, wants, limits, and preferences through nurturing yourself, refer to training number 1 about that, then you start to have the consciousness of all of me matters. You start to find a way to give voice to that in your relationships. And so instead of 2 people who have holes with an H, holes within themselves, i.e. Jerry Maguire, you complete me, we look to relationships to be completed. Instead of that, which is the consciousness of not enoughness, we have 2 whole people, WHOLE, 2 whole people who come to a relationship and they can create a third life form, which is the relationship itself, and they do bridge building between their wholeness rather than trying to fill each other's holes. I don't know where the sign language came from, but that's what I'm trying to illustrate. So that's the form of wholeness in relationship. The form of wholeness in work and money, let's talk about that. In, let's say, work. So let's say you want to have work that's more meaningful, more purposeful. You want to feel like a contribution. When you're in human doing mode, then, and you don't feel whole, I always like to say the doing model of power values productivity. The being model of power values presence, who you are. When you start to value who you are, your own presence, your own beingness, your own essence, because that consciousness creates your reality, you get to have work experiences where all of you is valued, all of you is appreciated. Your contribution is not just in what you do, but who you are. So that's what self-worth and confidence, the form of that, can show up as. There's many different ways, but that's one way it can show up in work. Okay, let's talk about money. What is the form of wholeness with money? Wholeness, remember, your consciousness is all of me is valuing all of me. You've now just expanded your sense of personal value, your innate value. If your consciousness is value, then that which you value in your physical world can now come into your awareness. You can now receive more. You've expanded your capacity to receive more. Just by you valuing you. You stand in your value and it gets reflected because, as I said, back to training number 1, life mirrors in its manifestations your relationship with you. If you value you, you will have examples with money and beyond of value. Money, things, appreciation, recognition. Okay, so it's the valuing internally which gets reflected externally. All right, and excuse me, wellness and beauty. So wholeness, the consciousness, the essence of wholeness, means that you regard your body as part of your lived experience. Your body, your sensations, whether you feel good or bad, symptoms, healthy, whatever's going on, whether it's your sense of beauty and attractiveness, your relationship to self-nourishment and activity, okay? You view your body as a part of the whole of your experience. But when you are in doing mode regarding your body, you objectify your body. It's not a part of you. It's this thing that you have to whip into shape or make the feelings go away or fix it because I got symptoms and this, I don't like how this feels. You make your body a thing rather than a part of your wholeness, a part of all of you. And once you make it a part of all of you and you start to include it in your nurturing, you start to develop a relationship with your body. Hi, Gregory. That then that wholeness can be reflected in all sorts of amazing ways where healing can happen and you feel guided in the kind of eating and exercise that feels good to you. You have a relationship, you show up to your body, you're present with your body, and your body responds to your consciousness. There's tons of scientific studies about the body-mind connection, and this is one of the ways that you can have your sense of self-worth and your confidence in that internal relationship with yourself get reflected in surpassing your limits around wellness and beauty. All right, so that's what the form of wholeness can look like, just to give you a few examples. I hope you're tracking with me. And if you have any questions or comments, please post them. I will come back and answer everything that I can. So we also talked about confidence. So what is the form of confidence in your life? If you're focusing on the essence of wholeness so that the form can come, what is the form of confidence? So confidence as the consciousness of wholeness means that you become able to access all of your inner resources. So let's say that you, up until now, have been operating from a not enough consciousness, which means parts of you have been rejected, banished, judged, or shamed, right? You can't experience your wholeness. That also means you can't access all kinds of other resources within you because not enough is kind of this equalizer. If you can't access it here, you can't access other aspects of yourself. So you have these inner resources, which is, let's say we're talking back to worthiness. When you feel worthy, all right, that means that you are able to receive support in expected and unexpected ways. You can ask for support in expected and unexpected ways, and you can receive gifts from the universe, from life itself in expected and unexpected ways. That is the consciousness of wholeness. That is you accessing all kinds of internal resources that are not available when you're not in that state of consciousness. So confidence is this energy, this mindset, this thought process is no matter what happens, I will be okay. Okay. People who are confident move through the world with being less influenced by what other people think. Things can happen in their life and they kind of bounce. They're kind of resilient, right? People who don't have confidence don't have access to that part of themselves that's that voice of, you know what, even if this goes terribly wrong, everything's going to be okay. Or somebody has a really bad opinion of you and they're like, they have something to say about it. People who are more in their wholeness and more in their confidence is like, well, that's their opinion, as opposed to, oh my gosh, what am I going to do about it? The whole self-worth, not enough voice kicks in, and there isn't that ability to connect with your innate value regardless of the conditions in your world or the people in your world. This consciousness of wholeness lends itself to this experience that I love nurturing and talking about. It's sovereignty. Sovereignty is when you're connected to your personal power independent of the conditions, the conditions and the people in your world. Now that's a powerful thing. And it isn't like you just get there and you're done. It's a relationship that you have with yourself. When you get pulled or poked from the outside world, people, conditions, we're going to still react. But when you're cultivating that consciousness of wholeness, you know where to go to, which is you come back to yourself. You nurture yourself. You welcome home all parts of yourself. It doesn't matter if you're feeling fear or pain or anxiety or you're feeling not enough. Instead of judging and shaming those kinds of things, you say, you know what? Fear, loneliness, pain, you get to be here. You're a part of me. And you become curious about how to nurture the needs that come with that and treat that with more love, not less. So that's what wholeness can do in your life. That's the form of wholeness of confidence, I should say, when you focus on the essence of wholeness. So with that now, I'd like to give you some ideas, some things that you can practice in your own life to keep focusing on the essence so that the form will come regarding self-confidence and self-worth. How do you focus on the essence so that the form actually does come? Okay. Something you've heard me say a few times is this: you already are all that you seek to be, do, and have. That is the presupposition on which all of this work is based. There's nothing missing. There's nothing broken. You already are all that you seek to be, do, and have. Training number 1, I talked about the seed, okay? The seed has everything it needs to be the beautiful, majestic tree. There's nothing missing. However, just because that already exists doesn't mean it's fully expressed yet, doesn't mean it's fully experienced yet. Okay, but that's the consciousness we begin with. You already are all that you seek to be, do, and have. That alone is a dramatic difference from, I need to fix myself, I'm not enough, something is broken. So we first become willing to claim the space, like the seed claims the space in the earth. This is my space where I will flourish. This is my space where I will discover what it is to be a majestic tree. This claiming of, I am willing to discover my wholeness. I am willing to discover, I'm willing to believe that I already am all that I seek to be, do, and have, even if I have no idea where to start. That willingness right there is the catalyst to all of this self-worth and confidence flourishing and growing. Okay, so that's the first piece. So then you apply what we talked about in training number 1, which is you nurture as best you can all aspects of yourself. So part of claiming the space is saying, you know what? From this day forward, I'm going to be in a discovery process. I'm going to be in a discovery process about how it is that I already am whole and complete. And as you start to be in a discovery process around nurturing yourself, then and this is a very important and powerful distinction, you may already be wholeness. But what you're looking for when you want to be fulfilled, when you want to surpass your upper limit, you want to experience it. All right? You don't achieve confidence. You don't achieve self-worth. You feel confidence. You feel self-worth. And you do that by receiving all of your feelings, nurturing them. And as you receive all of you, the truth of what you are, which is wholeness, is what you can start to feel and experience. That is the growth, the evolution, and the expansion of your innate value. The transactional value starts to take its proper place in your life, It's good for work, you do a job, you get some money back. But your self-worth and confidence, which is innate and natural to you, that starts to expand, take up space, and flourish. And you become more and more sovereign through that experience. So that is today's training on self-worth and confidence. And this coming Friday, we're going to do the final training for this. If you like this, please share. Oh, I almost forgot something really important. Anyway, it helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. And I'd love to send you off with some willingness mantras so that even though you might be digesting a lot from this training, you have something you can actually start practicing right away. So if you are struggling at all with self-worth and confidence, here are 2 cards from the Receive Oracle card deck. Okay, this has 56 cards with 56 affirmations and a little booklet, 146 pages, I think, full of receiving wisdom. So you get to receive your fulfillment by unlearning the struggle that comes from over-relying on the doing model of power. This card is Receive Fulfillment. So if you're struggling with self-worth and confidence, stop, notice, and you can use this affirmation. I am willing to discover the joyful fulfillment of being my own safe haven. That's the homecoming that we've been talking about, okay? The second card is Return to Yourself. If you feel stuck or struggling with low self-worth or confidence issues, I am willing to discover how to receive my fulfillment by always returning to myself. Okay, so if you need to, come back, press play, watch this video again. Just let it wash over you. This stuff is powerful stuff. It's deep stuff, but it is life-changing stuff. And if you would like to go deeper with this, I invite you to join me at my workshop that starts this Saturday. It's called Surpass Your Limits in 2022, where we'll do a deep dive into this. You're going to get to see your blind spots in a more personal way. There's an assessment that you're going to complete that's going to connect you with what you're ready to receive in the new year. I'm going to show you how to craft goals in a way that actually inspires success based on invitation versus intention. Being versus doing. And I'm going to walk you step by step through the 3-step receive method so that you can start receiving your fulfillment by unlearning struggle right away. It's simple yet profound. I always say it's an inch wide and a million miles deep. And if you want to see stories about people who have started receiving things very quickly, ease, speed, and beyond by practicing this tool, just go to surpassyourlimitsworkshop.com. I hope you'll join me. If you can't make it live, it will be recorded. And if you're among the first 25 people to register, there's still some room for that. I will be creating a very personalized video with a 90-day plan for you to start off your new year with clarity. So I'll illuminate some of your probable blind spots, and I'll tell you what is the best focus for you and recommended next steps. So I hope to see you there, and I hope I see you at the next training. Have a great rest of your day. Talk to you soon. Bye.